The next morning was peaceful. A rare thing these days. The war wasn't over. The galaxy wasn't fixed. House Rain still existed, yet for the first time in years, the future felt lighter. Golden sunlight poured through the enormous windows of Kenny and Celine's residence. The twin suns had only recently risen. The room remained quiet. Neither of them seemed interested in moving. Celine lay comfortably against Kenny's chest while he lazily traced circles on her shoulder. No war reports, no meetings, no emergency alerts, just silence. The kind of silence people fought wars to protect. For several minutes neither spoke. Then the wall screen suddenly activated. The familiar Imperial crest appeared. Kenny groaned. Celine laughed. "Your friend is awake. My friend has terrible timing." The screen brightened. The Emperor appeared, standing behind a podium on Earth. Millions of people across the galaxy were clearly watching. The broadcast marker confirmed it. Official Imperial address. The Emperor smiled warmly. "My fellow citizens." The familiar speech tone immediately filled the room. "Today I am pleased to announce that recent operations against House Rain have been overwhelmingly successful." Images appeared behind him. Trade routes, shipping lanes, merchant worlds, civilian convoys. The Emperor continued. "The threat posed to galactic commerce has been effectively neutralized." Another image appeared. Freight vessels crossing sectors that had once been considered dangerous. For the first time in many years, a slight pause that the average citizen can travel without fear. The room became quiet. Even Kenny watched. The Emperor wasn't exaggerating. Trade routes had reopened. Shipping had resumed. Prices across hundreds of worlds were already dropping. The entire galaxy was recovering. The Emperor smiled. "Many brave individuals deserve recognition, but today is not about war." The screen behind him changed. A new symbol appeared, one every citizen recognized instantly. The Eclipse. The famous crest rotated slowly. Kenny groaned immediately. Celine laughed harder. The Emperor smiled. With peace finally returning to much of the galaxy. Another pause. "It is my pleasure to remind everyone that preparations for the 11th Eclipse Games continue." The room practically radiated excitement. The Emperor pointed toward the camera. Less than 7 years remain. Images appeared. Massive arenas, training academies, historical footage, champions from previous games. Even Kenny briefly appeared during one montage. Celine immediately pointed. "There you are." Kenny rolled his eyes. The Emperor continued. "Future contestants are already training. Future legends are already being forged. And one day soon," he smiled, "a new champion will emerge." The advertisement continued for several more minutes. Promotional footage, training opportunities, public applications, sponsorship programs. Everything the Eclipse was famous for. Then finally the Emperor finished. Until then, another smile. Train hard. The broadcast ended. The screen darkened. Silence returned. Celine looked toward Kenny. "Think you'll miss it?" "The Eclipse." She nodded. Kenny thought about it, surprisingly seriously. Eventually he shrugged. "A little." Another pause. "But I don't think I belong there anymore." Celine smiled softly. "Probably not." The two eventually climbed out of bed. Morning became afternoon. Coffee appeared. The pair settled onto a balcony overlooking Reach Prime. The city stretched endlessly beneath them. Ships crossed the sky. People moved through streets. Life continued. Celine wrapped both hands around her mug, then asked the question, "So what's next?" Kenny stared at the skyline, thinking. The answer wasn't simple anymore. A year ago, it would have been easy. Destroy House Rain, win the war, move on. Now things were different. They're finished. Celine nodded. They both knew it. House Rain no longer posed a serious military threat. Their fleets were crippled. Their technology was crippled. Their economy was crippled. Everything was crippled. Kenny continued. "The question is whether I finish them." Another pause, or let them finish themselves. Celine remained quiet, listening. There can't be many left. Kenny looked toward the horizon, a few thousand maybe. Another pause, not counting my father, not counting Cashin. Another. Just the actual bloodline. The reality sounded strange when spoken aloud. An entire dynasty reduced to a few thousand survivors. Celine sipped her coffee, then smiled. "You already know what you're going to do." Kenny looked at her. "Do I?" She nodded. "Maybe." The Queen shrugged. Maybe not. Another pause. But whatever you decide. She leaned against him. I quote am with you. The simplicity of the statement made him smile. No conditions, no politics, no strategy, just support. The moment lingered. Peaceful, warm, far away from reach, far away from sunlight, far away from hope. Lord Rain sat in darkness. The contrast could not have been greater. The halls of House Rain had become chaos. People ran constantly. Arguments echoed through corridors. Equipment failures continued daily. Entire departments no longer functioned. Nothing worked properly anymore. The dynasty was collapsing, and for the first time in decades. Lord Rain sat alone, inside Cassian's medical chamber. The room was eerily quiet. The advanced machines that once filled the space sat dead. Powerless, lifeless. Only a few emergency systems remained operational. The old warrior rested on a simple bed. A humiliating thing. The legendary Cassian Rain, reduced to equipment barely more advanced than ancient medicine. His remaining eyes slowly opened. Lord Rain sat beside him. Neither spoke immediately. Eventually Cassian laughed weakly. It sounded horrible. I look terrible. His son almost smiled. You do. Another weak laugh. The old warrior stared at the ceiling. For a long time, then finally spoke. I remember when you were a boy. Lord Rain looked surprised. Cassian rarely spoke like this. The old warrior continued. You were always angry. Another pause. Always trying to prove yourself. His remaining eyes shifted toward his son. Still are. The statement lingered. Lord Rain looked away. Neither man mentioned Kenny. Neither needed to. He was between every sentence anyway. Eventually, Cassian's breathing became weaker, slower. The years finally catching him. The wounds finally catching him. The consequences finally catching him. The old warrior reached out. Lord Rain immediately took his hand. For a moment, the terrifying founder of House Rain looked old. Just old. Nothing more. Cassian's voice became faint. We should have killed him. Lord Rain closed his eyes. Even now, that was his final thought. Not regret, not family, not legacy. Kenny. The old warrior's grip weakened, then weakened further, then stopped completely. Silence filled the room. Cassian Rain was dead. The founder, the legend, the monster. Gone. Lord Rain didn't move, didn't speak, didn't cry. For several minutes he simply sat there, holding the hand, staring. Then something broke. Not loudly, not visibly. Inside. The grief didn't process properly. The loss didn't process properly. The anger didn't process properly. Everything twisted together into something ugly, something dangerous, something unstable. Slowly he stood, his eyes empty, his expression hollow. Then he left the room. Outside, chaos still reigned. People ran through corridors. Officers shouted. Workers panicked. Systems failed. Yet Lord Rain noticed none of it. His mind focused on only one thing. A way off the planet. A way out. A way forward. A way to hurt Kenny Reach.